This is about the survival of the human race, a sign of the times, an analysis, and a commentary. Climate change and carbon link. More American children are getting asthma and allergies, and more seniors are suffering heat strokes. Food and utility prices are rising. Flooding is overrunning bridges, swamping subways, and closing airport runways. People are losing jobs in drought-related factory closings. Cataclysmic storms are wiping out sprawling neighborhoods. Towns are sinking. This isn't a science fiction, end of the world scenario, though more anecdotal than normal. Today, at least, these scenes are already playing out somewhere in the United States, and they're expected to get worse in the years ahead. In fact, a remaking of America is likely in our lifetimes, a flicker in geological time. This will transform how and where we live, work, and play. Massachusetts' climate will start to look more like North Carolina's, and Illinois will begin to feel like Texas. Montana's Glacier National Park, a glorious sight that draws tourists from around the world, will likely lose its glaciers. Climate change is partly the culprit. Scientific research shows that it's increasing the risk and intensity of heat waves, downpours, drought, and wildfires. A key factor, so they say, the burning of fossil fuels. With these changes come rising sea levels and acidified oceans. So when Superstorm Sandy struck New York Harbor in October, the flooding that killed scores of people, ruined thousands of homes, and closed subways as well as airports, came amid already rising seas. As the planet edges this year toward what some scientists say will be the highest concentration of heat-trapping carbon dioxide emissions in at least 800,000 years. Supposedly, not all of it is bad news. As with any change, there will be winners and losers, especially at the local level. There will be longer growing seasons, lower heating bills, and fewer cold-related deaths. Melting Arctic sea ice is opening the Northwest Passage off Alaska's coast to tourism, maritime shipping, and oil exploration. Yet, on a national level, the losers will probably outnumber the winners, according to a draft report of the Third National Climate Assessment released by the U.S. government in January. Americans can adapt to some climate change, and indeed already are, but a continuing rise in global carbon emissions will make adapting increasingly costly and difficult, especially in developed coastal areas. Some potential impacts, such as higher flood insurance premiums for luxury waterfront homes or more bald spots on ski slopes, might seem trivial. Others, lower home values on the coast, heat-related deaths in the Midwest, or the relocation of entire villages in Alaska, not so much. The effects of this new world are reverberating from coast to coast, and a meticulous new analysis of Antarctic ice suggests that the sharp warming that ended the last ice age occurred in lockstep with increases of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the latest of many indications that the gas is a powerful influence on the Earth's climate. Previous research suggested that as the world began to emerge from the depths of the Ice Age about 20,000 years ago, warming in Antarctica preceded changes in the global carbon dioxide level by something like 800 years. That relatively long gap led some climate change contrarians to assert that rising carbon dioxide levels were essentially irrelevant to the Earth's temperature, a side effect of planetary warming, perhaps but not the cause. Mainstream climate scientists rejected that view and argued that carbon dioxide, while it certainly did not initiate the end of the Ice Age, played a vital role in the feedback loops that caused a substantial warming. Still, a long gap between initial increases of temperature and of carbon dioxide was somewhat difficult for the scientists to explain. A wave of new research in the last few years has raised the likelihood that there was actually a small gap, if any. Scientists have long known that the ice ages are caused by variations in the Earth's orbit around the Sun. When an intensification of sunlight initiates the end of an ice age, they believe carbon dioxide is somehow flushed out of the ocean, causing a big amplification of the initial warming. Since the 1980s, scientists have been collecting a climate record by extracting long cylinders of ice from the ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica, and from glaciers atop high mountains. Air bubbles trapped in the ice give direct evidence of the past composition of the atmosphere, and subtle chemical variations in the ice itself give an indication of the local temperature at the time it was formed. The trouble is that air does not get sealed in the ice until hundreds or even thousands of years after the snow has fallen, as it slowly gets buried and compressed. That means the ice and the air bubbles trapped in it are not the same age, so it becomes tricky for scientists to put reconstructed atmospheric composition and reconstructed temperature onto a common timescale. With improved techniques, the new research has sought to clarify the dating of previously recovered ice cores from Antarctica, instead of the 800-year lag between temperature and carbon dioxide increases found in some previous research. The new research suggests that the lag as the ice age started to end was less than 200 years, and possibly there was no lag at all. In other words, climate change can happen quite suddenly. So, what this new work does, again and more clearly than ever, is to show that the large temperature changes are tightly coupled to large CO2 changes. The tight relationship in past climate between temperature and carbon dioxide is a major reason scientists have warned that modern society is running a big risk by burning CO2 producing fossil fuels. The level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has jumped 41% since the Industrial Revolution began in the 18th century, and scientists fear it could double or triple unless stronger efforts are made to control emissions. Even at the current concentration of the gas, the evidence suggests that increases in sea level of 25 feet or more may have already become inevitable, albeit over a somewhat long period. We're just entering a new era in Earth's history. It will be an unrecognizable new planet in the future. The question is, exactly how fast does that transformation happen? In other words, climate change is happening right now, and it will continue into the future. So, what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations? And that should be a very important question to ask. Everything is connected, and everything is numbered. This too is another sign of the end of times as we know them, transition days, which is a time of extraordinary changes, happenings, and events. Revelation chapter 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, until the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads, or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. 5. But the rest of the dead lived not again, until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. 6. Blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection. On such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. 8. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. Again, it's time for prophecy to be fulfilled, and all these are more signs of the times. Everything that must change quickly or rapidly, and for the better. And this is the way it is.